Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new to me, I have some links below you can click on and learn all about what I do. But I'm a plein air painter. I mostly paint in oils. And today I am in the woods in Ohio. It's early fall, but I thought it'd be interesting to take you into these deep woods here and show you some of the really interesting type landscapes that you can kind of play with in a painting. Now today I have a special thing I want to show you. I was sent an easel that I'm really excited to share, so I'm going to show you that here soon. It's a new plein air easel and I think it's going to turn out really cool. I think you're going to like it and there'll be links for that below. Okay, so let's jump in. Hey everyone, Jessica Henry Gray here, and thanks for watching one of my videos. On my channel, I concentrate on the joy of outdoor plein air painting. I talk about color, composition, efficiency, and so much more. I bring you 30 years of painting and teaching experience. So I hope you enjoy these videos, and let's go paint something beautiful. Okay, so I was walking along and I saw this really pretty tree and the way the light's sort of filtering through onto this path going up the hill, and the trees I think are actually compositionally arranged nicely. So I'm gonna try this. I walked around for a little while, and even though there's interesting like landscape and ravines and things in this forest, I think that this might make a more interesting, kind of more cohesive idea on a canvas. And I think a lot of people want to know how to do dappled paths and in the woods, and how you would take a complex scene like this and put it in a painting. All right, so let's jump in. Okay, so what do I bring with? I'm going to show you my condensed version here and the new easel. So I do have a roll of paper towels. I don't normally bring this much, but it was a new roll in my studio, so I just grabbed it. Got my brushes, a little palette, box and paint storage container. Now this doesn't fit the new easel that I'm trying out today, but these guys make a smaller one that I'm going to order that will fit just perfectly. My tripod, my brush clamp that goes onto the tripod, and I stick all my brushes in there while I'm painting. I love this thing. Recommend it. You get a discount if you order it. You use my name, Jessie, Jessie, when you're ordering. Yeah, Etsy. Link below. Let's see, bungee cord for holding my paper towels up onto the tripod. I've got my bag of paints. I like a mesh-sided, anything that I can squish down to put in my backpack, save space. So I don't want hard plastic, you know, fishing tackle boxes, things like that, because that's air and weight. So I have my Gamsol. Now this is the new easel box by Piuma. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. This is the light, this is the smaller size. And this is one of the designs where it goes onto your tripod legs like this, and then it opens up. All of this closes magnetically with these little magnetic dots. This is plexiglass on here. To clean it, these little corners come out. How handy is that? You can take the plexiglass completely out and put these back in that way. I thought that was pretty cool when I found that out. And then these are little magnet things to hold onto your palette knife. It comes with extra magnets and hooks and little pre-drilled holes you can put the hooks in. And I'll be hanging my odorless mineral spirit bucket on here. And so that is the simple design. It's not even 2 pounds, it's like 1.5 pounds, super lightweight. And then this is the top part. You put a little clamp on it for your tripod, and it clips like that. And these turn sideways, I'll show you all that. But that's it. This whole thing is just a little bit over 2 pounds, super lightweight. So I'm really excited about that. And I know a lot of people are asking me where I get my pochade, and I have an open box M that I use on pretty much all my videos. They're not in business anymore and no one can get them. So I'm looking for a good easel that I can recommend to students, and this is super affordable. This whole unit is $175, and then you'd pay for shipping over and above. So that is a really, really good deal. That's almost half of what an open box M is. And you have the same lightweight portability, and I love that. You know I love that. So, and that's pretty much it. So let's get set up. So I will have links below for this new easel. You can follow him on Instagram and just check out how he builds them and all of that. All made in America. So that's cool. So this works like this. You loosen up the twist on the back and loosen it all the way up. So, all the way up, turn it like that. Now I'm going to twist this back in. It doesn't get much easier than that. All right, so I've got 8x10 or 8x10 today, so I'm using this. And I'm 100% certain I'm going vertical when I look at this scene out here. So I think for now I'll just set this in place. Got titanium white. This hand's a yellow light. A really similar alternative to cadmium yellow if you're not keen on using cadmiums. Hands of yellow, and then this is cad yellow medium. Now this time of year I will grab a couple of cadmium orange. What have I got? Cad orange here, and then I have a cadmium red light. These two are really nice for making a transparent fall orange or yellow. Cadmiums are always my go-to when it comes to capturing transparency. Whether you're in the studio painting still lifes and you are painting oranges or whatever, or flowers, this is cadmium orange. This is cad red light. So those are my reds and yellows. I'm still in my warms. The way I arrange my palette is I put all my warms up here, and then generally my cools go off to the side over here and or down if I have any other pinks or emerald greens or whatever. So yellow ochre. So then what I have here are my cadmiums all together. And then now I begin my earth tones. So I've got my yellow ochre still part of this warm family. I have a transparent red oxide. That's transparent red oxide, burnt sienna. You can see how these are the earth tone colors now. And then I do my ultramarine blue. There it is. Those three colors, ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, and yellow ochre, I use for almost everything. You can do entire paintings with just those because they're basically the primary colors. Now, these two colors are quite cool. So you see I have my earth tones bleeding into the ultramarine blue. Now I go into the cool, so I've got my phthalo green and my alizarin permanent. So you don't need very much of these, but they're nice, especially alizarin is good for shadows and if you need some violets, things like that. And phthalo green, I mix with other colors to achieve certain effects. Like phthalo green mixed with transparent red oxide is amazing, gorgeous, rich green. When I'm out and about, I use a little bit of Galkid gel. I don't have my container, so we'll just put some of that there. So my brushes, I love charcoal brushes. They're my go-to brushes. I just grab them for everything. So, I ordered the long size filbert, or I haven't washed these, sorry, because I like that they have a little bit more spring. You see, this little easel has these holders, which I find quite convenient. I'll just put some of those down there. Definitely going vertical. I think I'm going to bring this canvas over a little bit. Now, one thing I want to watch out for is that I don't have too much tension between, here's the edge of the canvas and the corner. If I make a tree coming like out at the top, you don't want to do that, like right into that corner. You also don't want to put it too close to the edge, that it leaves too much of a gap, or too little of a gap. And you also don't want to make the gap between the edge of the canvas and the tree itself the same width, because that creates tension. So just watch that you have an interesting juxtaposition of, if you have a tree close to an edge of a canvas, that you make it sort of an artistic arrangement of shape and negative space. we'll play with it on this a little bit more, but that's something you just want to watch out for compositionally. So I'm going to think about how I want to draw the eye in, and I want to use the dappled light and some of these beautiful glowing leaves to draw the eye up and through here. So this is going to be my focal area, so I really have to reward the viewer for coming into here. That means this is going to have some richer, brighter colors in here, and my dark values and my light values are going to point the way compositionally to this spot. Okay, so this is where I put together my outline for my story. That's the importance of a thumbnail sketch. All right, I'm going to tone my canvas with a little bit of the transparent red oxide and some yellow ochre. This will create sort of a nice glow. I'm just going to draw in my sketch. Taking into account my focal area.
These beginning stages of a painting are so important. Everything you do is going to either make the rest of the painting easier or more difficult. I think that if I were to portion out time that I spend on different parts in a painting, the beginning stage probably takes a good 30% of my time in the painting. And that includes blocking in and refining everything, paying attention to movement of light and so forth. At this stage, I'm concentrating on my values and how they relate to each other throughout the painting, taking into account that the canvas itself now is already about a middle tone, maybe a little bit lighter than middle tone. So I'm establishing my darkest areas, and then as it progresses back, I want them to get lighter.
Now the key to painting backgrounds in the forest is squint down. When you squint, all you see is a passage of color. And so that's all I'm going to focus on back here in between these trees. Just a passage of color in between them.
And the colors that I'm using here are a little bit of phthalo green in with the Hansa yellow and some white. And I'm grabbing some yellow ochre, and you can see on my palette, I'll make a couple different piles and I grab into them as I'm going along. I have some cooler greens and then some warmer greens. That little bit of the cadmium orange with the cad yellow will kind of incorporate some nicer fall colors. The orange will neutralize the green because the orange is part of the red family. And depending on the orange, this one is. And so by adding that a little bit to the green, it'll kind of tone it down and make it less vibrant. I could leave that out and make it a lot more intense, which I do some of the time as well. So now that background passage, as those patches of color back behind there fade down into the shadows, they get cooler, a cooler green. And you can't really tell from the photo reference on the left, but when I was out there, as the darker value of that background slipped into shadow, they became a cooler green. And I made that green with a little bit of ultramarine blue, a touch of phthalo green into that green mixture. A little bit of ultramarine blue and some white, just to pop in some sky holes in the background. It sort of opens it up and makes it less like a wall of green, and it gives it just a sense of air and space back there. And that is ultramarine blue in with that mixture that I already had on the palette, a greenish mixture, to create a darker value back there in the forest and the trees. In the photo reference on the left, the shadows as they stretched across the path look warmer. They're sort of a warmer tone, but in real life, those shadows were very grayish. And so that is why I incorporated some of that gray. And while I had it, I thought I might as well put it up the tree trunks where I saw gray. And all the time I'm watching for the way that light moves along a passage. So on this tree back here, against the sky, it was blacker. And then as the tree dipped down into the dark shadows, it became lighter. The values reversed on the tree trunk. And that's when I'm talking about movement of light, I'm looking where that light changes across the spectrum of one object. So in this case, with this tree trunk, I'm looking at how the light moves. And then it also picks up ambient light from the whole nature, just being in the trees. There's a orangey golden glow that's just sort of bathing this tree in a warmth. So I'm incorporating a little bit more of the yellow ochre and siennas into the tree, but keeping it a little cooler where I see some of those more shadowy areas on that tree. If you notice as I'm painting this tree, I'm paying extra close attention to the curvature of the tree. And if I can curve my brushwork in a manner that describes the form, it gives the illusion of the shape of that tree much more convincingly. So even down onto the roots, I'm making smaller, tighter, sort of concave, convex curvatures to indicate the roots as they come into the ground. And so I like to use that method, especially as I go up the tree too. If you watch my brushstrokes, about eye level, they're almost straight across, but as the tree curves and it goes upwards from my line of sight, those curves of the tree curve upwards. And it helps with the illusion of depth and contouring on the tree. This forest floor is painted largely with burnt sienna, yellow ochre, and some grays. And I just wove those in where I saw the grays were more incorporated into the shadows. And then that forest floor, as it got closer to me, had much more warmth in it. So yellow ochre, cad yellows, little burnt siennas. And then I wanted to start, I didn't really have any strong lights in my painting. So while the sun came out, I sought to capture these dappled light pieces on the path as they stretched out in front of me. Of course, at this point, my brushstrokes, it's all too globby and doesn't look like sun, but I do work on softening that as I go further along. And I also kind of tone them down just a little bit too, because sometimes it might seem that bright when you're looking at it, but if you paint it that way, they become an object that stands out. So you have to sort of neutralize that intensity, look away at something and look at it peripherally out of the corner of your eye, and that'll give you a better gauge of the accuracy of the value of something. When you just stare at something long enough, it can either become too dark or too light. So just by looking away, it can be a big help. So I'm coming in through here now, and I'm pulling out some of the more vibrant colors that I saw in my scene. And that, after I blocked it all in, then you take the time and you go back and add the bright spots of yellows or greens or the foliage in the underbrush. But I don't do any of that until I have it blocked in and I'm comfortable with the value and composition. If you do that too soon, you find that you're fiddling around leaves and stuff, and you don't want to do that too early in the painting. So now I'm just taking and putting in some dappled light on some of the tree trunks. And you can see here now I've toned down the path a little bit as well. Coming in with some ultramarine blue into that mixture, a little bit of the cad yellow, and I want to get some of this sort of denser foliage down below because I felt that it added a lot to the overall feeling of atmosphere down below in this eye level area. A short people art about eye level of the shrubs. If you're new to my channel, I'm about 5'1". Okay, so the light was coming through and streaming, hitting some of these green leaves and some of the orange leaves, and it was so beautiful. You have to be careful and be selective. Don't just start painting every single one that you see. Don't feel overwhelmed either. So select the ones that you feel are best going to describe the feeling of those leaves. And that's the gauge I use to indicate how many of something I want to do. You know, I'll add a few and I'll look up and I ask myself, does that capture that feeling? Do I need more? Do I need less? Push it a little further, pull it back, and here it is finished. So I hope you all enjoyed this and got a little something out of this video. And check out the link to this easel. I did enjoy it. I thought it was a really clever easel. And thank you guys for joining me.
All right, everybody. Well, that wraps this video up. I hope you enjoyed it, and I do enjoy this easel. If you want to check it out, all the links are below. It's called the Piuma Light. This one is the Light easel, and so check all that out below. Check out his Instagram. I think you're going to enjoy what you see. All right, and also check out the links below that I have about my upcoming workshops. I have an upcoming one in England in 2025 that is going to be spectacular. So that one is almost full, but check it out anyway. We will be going back in 26. And so anyway, thank you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.